This edition of the Ridley Report is brought to you by the New Hampshire Liberty Alliance at nhliberty.org.
Good morning. Thank you for coming.
If I welcome you all to New Hampshire, please spend some money before you go home.
As you all know, it is important that each and every one of our representatives that we know, we ask them, we approach them, we request of them to represent the workers' ability to choose whether or not to join a union before they go into the chamber today. I want to thank you all for coming here today. I think none of us are being paid by our employers to be here today, and this is a giant testament to how important it is to make New Hampshire the first right-to-work state in New England. Today, this is an almost volunteer position. They have been beat up, spammed in their inboxes. We couldn't potentially make New Hampshire the first right-to-work state in New England. So let me say, without your help, we couldn't be successful. So talk to your legislators. This is going to be a very, very, very close vote to override the governor, and we need to make sure every single one of our elected officials that are here today vote to support that override.
Yes.
Now, most of the crowd that you see here is against the bill. The folks who support the bill have manned the doors for a period of time here. There's not as many of them up here because they're mostly in the basement still, I guess.
That's the true cost. Within youth always says, well, people who know where this is going to go, know that they're going to have to clean up the mess, and they want to push
my question is, why do we need unions today? Because the union memberships have declined substantially. There are good reasons for it. Government has taken over the mantle of a lot of the things that unions have been fighting for, and it's fundamentally morally wrong and un-American to be forcing people to pay dues to organizations that they don't want to belong to.
However, you were engaged in a debate when I walked up, so I think I'll let you continue it.
Please respond. Please respond.
Well, I think we still need unions. Workers need dignity on the job. They need a fair day's pay for a fair day's work, all those kind of things. They're only going to get it if they're organized among themselves. They're not going to get it by relying on the employers. And I was a local union president myself for 4 years. I've seen this firsthand, and I just think that this gentleman has been has been misinformed, and we do need unions, and this right to work measure is an effort to bust unions, and it's really I'm glad that there are a lot of people out here to support the governor's veto of it.
Well, now I guess I have a question. I mean, my heart is with him, I got to admit, but there's a technicality that puts me with you in a sense, and that is if Jimmy Hoffa wants to move to New Hampshire and start a company that's all union workers and he only wants to hire union workers and he wants to make that a condition of employment, shouldn't he be able to do that?
He can do that, but he can't force people who are not in unions, who he already employs, to pay dues to an organization that they don't want to belong to.
So this bill would allow a company to start up as union only?
Yes.
Really? I didn't read it that way. I read it. I didn't read it that way.
Now you're talking about start from scratch.
Yeah.
The whole right to work refers to existing the businesses.
I see. Okay. But even so, though, I mean, if I've got a company and I've got workers and I'm going to have to pay them $40,000 next year, shouldn't I get to determine the conditions under which I'm going to pay them the next $40,000?
You can't force people to pay dues and under threat of dismissal if they don't.
But it's my money. That's the way I look at it.
It's when you're a worker, it's your money, and you may not want to belong to that organization. And when your dues are forcibly extracted, that money also goes to political causes that you may not agree with.
Yeah,
and that is fundamentally wrong.
He's also lying through his teeth, because that money from fair share payers does not go into political action. The money for political action comes out of voluntary contributions to political action committees. It is illegal to use fair share money for political purposes. We know that. And you're lying if you say otherwise.
Like I said, there once was a time when we needed the unions, but today they're completely out of control. If you want to see where union power is taking us, take a look at Greece. Take a look at who's in those protests. Take a look at what's happening in Italy. Take a look at what's happening in other places, in Portugal, Spain. And that's where we're headed if we tilt the playing field in favor of the unions. They don't need help from government. They should be able to progress and make progress on their own efforts. I don't oppose collective bargaining, but they don't need an unfair edge in government support.
The way collective bargaining? I'm a union member. The wage that I'm earning right now is through the efforts of my union representatives, and I'd be a fool to think that I can negotiate those benefits on my own with any company or corporation that I work for. There's no way I could do it on my own. There's no way any people here could do it on their own. That's why the unions band together and have representatives, so that we do have people to go negotiate with these people. None of these people are skilled negotiators. I can't do it myself. I couldn't afford to put the food on the table that I do for my family right now if it weren't for those union representatives. Thanks, man.
Yes, right. And they had the populist very.
Hey, John.
Before that was the church that sponsored my mentor.
But lobbyists have gotten in.
It's ready for right now. When somebody leaves, the next person will come in. How you doing?
Hey, good.
I don't want you to auto-rotate me today, okay?
I beg your pardon?
I don't want you to auto-rotate me.
This edition of the Ridley Report was brought to you by the New Hampshire Liberty Alliance, working to fight for freedom in New Hampshire State House. But you know how I'm always saying that if you do this at the New Hampshire State House, you're gonna hit one of the New Hampshire Liberty activists. Well, let's just try it and see what happens.
Hey, what are you doing?
See, it works. If you do this at the New Hampshire State House, you will hit a member of the New Hampshire Liberty Alliance. Mr. Dave Ridley signing off for RidleyReport.com, sponsored by NHLiberty. You guys can say it.
NHLiberty.org.
No, that's not how I say it. NHLiberty.org.
ORG.
All right. Thanks,
not
guys.
that anymore.
NHLiberty.org.